Before we get to Jeff, we wanted to show you these submissions to our Now Local News app. They're from Pete in Tiverton. Pete showing us just how cold it was today. He sent video of a piece of ice in his yard, but he also gave us a shot of the sun. Thanks for sending these in, Pete.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Jeff Benson.
Well, let's talk about the sun, shall we? Later sunsets. First and foremost, you're really going to start noticing this, and that's largely due in part to daylight saving time kicking in 9 days. So we're going to go from 5:47 on the 9th to 5:48 on the 10th. So that's, kind of an extenuating circumstance. It's going to be very glaring because of that. But regardless, we still see some of the biggest jumps in not just sunsets, but also daylight in the month of March. March 21st, that's our first full day of spring, a 7 o'clock sunset, how appropriate, and a 7-11 on March 31st. So let's go a step further and talk daylight, and you can see some pretty big jumps here, and the northern tier of the U.S. gets the biggest one. Obviously, the closer you get to the North Pole, you're going to get bigger jumps, with the tilt of the Earth and all that. But we get some pretty big jumps here in southern New England, 80 minutes, give or take a little bit. We're, I believe, at 84 minutes from March 1st to March 31st. Slightly beating out April for the most amount of daylight gain, but these next couple of months, again, it's going to become very, very noticeable, very, very quick. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a lot of sun over the next week. Here come the clouds, the leading edge of those high clouds now extending that shield of them, extending up into northern New England, getting into Maine right now. Here is the leading edge of the rain. Of course, some chillier air out towards central northern Pennsylvania, Williamsport, over towards the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre area. This is all a rain event by the time it reaches us here, though. So, again, anything you need to do earlier tomorrow morning, the better. Here we are, 4 a.m., still nothing. Then you're going to start to see some light green developing by about 10, 11 o'clock. South County probably gets it first. Parts of southeast Mass, northern Providence County may be the last to get on it. This then overspreads the region. It's just a little bit of showery at first, and generally on the lighter side. Then it gets pretty steady and also heavier as we go throughout the afternoon, culminating with some heavy bursts of rain and downpours as we head into the early evening hours. Here we are here. This is actually at 10 o'clock, so I would say the heavy rain starts in the early evening hours, probably finishes up before midnight, and then that's all out of here, that storm. And we'll maybe see a couple of breaks of sun during the day on Sunday. It's going to be a largely cloudy day. Let's check your rain forecast here, and we have seen a little bit trend upward with some of the newest information coming in here. Right now, looking generally at about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches. So this could wind up being a nice 1 to 2 inch soaking here. Again, dependent upon those heaviest pockets of rain. Again, we talked before about how the rivers are still fortunately running very low even after the rainstorm earlier this week. So I do not anticipate any flooding there. But, this keeps happening. And with the unsettled pattern setting up into next week, and here comes our next chance of rain on Tuesday. Could be some briefly heavy rain there, and then another one Thursday into Friday. So if these keep adding up on top of each other, those rivers are going to start swelling up a little bit again, and we'll be right back to where we were, say, at the end of January. So something that does bear long-term watching. We're also maybe watching for a little bit of winter to come back into play here after a very mild week out there. Maybe a little pocket of cold air coming in towards the end of the week into next weekend. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, very closely, because it doesn't have to be an Arctic blast to get any kind of wintry weather, if you catch my drift there. But right now we've got showers in the forecast again. Tuesday, Thursday, and on Friday. We'll drop back out of the 50s into the 40s on Friday, and then, keeping an eye on next weekend. A lot of St. Patrick's Day festivities starting to pick up here across the area.